Hey guys, Kevin De Silva here with the Living in Los Angeles channel. And on today's episode, we're going to dive into when is the best time of the year to buy a house in Los Angeles, California. And remember, here at the Living in Los Angeles channel, our mission is simple. It's to help you make better decisions with your living situation so that you can grow your wealth. And we do that by providing you better insights into the market, tips and tricks for getting ahead, and also which areas are doing the best and match your needs the best. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so that you can be the first to see our videos when we post them in real time and start to implement these tips and tricks in your life so you can grow your wealth through your living situation. So I get asked the question all the time, when is the best time of the year to buy a house? When do you get the best deal? And the reality is simple. The best time of the year to buy a house is late fall and early winter. And what I mean by that is typically from October through the end of the year and up through January. But don't take my word for it. Let me share with you exactly why it's the best time of the year to buy a house and how you could be saving tens of thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars on your next home purchase if you were to buy in that window. So I'm going to turn this camera around and let's take a look. So I'm on my multiple listing service account. It's a way for real estate agents to communicate with each other about property sales. It's also how Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow, and Homes.com get their property details through an IDX feed from the multiple listing service. That said, there are a number of tools on here which help me help you. So let's take a look at my favorite one, and instead of just taking off that. So here's what the data says. So we're looking at Los Angeles County as a whole. Why do I like to look at Los Angeles County as a whole when I look at trends? Well, the reality is there are thousands of sales every single month. And so it's really hard for any one area to influence the overall outcome. And I find through this much data, you actually get a more concrete understanding of what trends are happening. Now, every neighborhood is different. Like for instance, lower interest rates have seen the luxury market start to take off. This happened right around Christmas last year in 2023. Interest rates came down in Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden everybody was buying a house in Santa Monica, the Palisades, Brentwood, West LA. It was so busy. But that is kind of it's hard to explain, but I do find that the luxury real estate market does tend to lead the trend. So whatever happens in the luxury real estate market tends to play out elsewhere in the coming months. That said, this is going to take a bigger picture and see what's happening on a more macro Los Angeles real estate market level. So let's look at this. Every month, thousands of homes sell in Los Angeles County. And, these are homes selling in Santa Monica, Manhattan Beach, Mar Vista, Marina del Rey, South Redondo Beach. I mean, you name it, West Hawthorne. This is an aggregate of every home sold in LA County. Now, when we look at this, I can look at averages because there's so many data points. I don't need to look at the median. I like to look at the average. There's also so many data points. I can look at it on a monthly. For instance, interest rates went down, and what happened? Prices started to go up. So this is causing a little bit of a difference this fall season. But let's look at this. So we have around the holidays, okay? Every year you will notice that from January to spring, the market jumps, okay? Then interest rates went up. This was 2023. Interest rates went up, the market came back down. And then it's kind of bounced around. It was still pretty active, right? And then it dropped down over the holidays because people get inconvenienced by the holidays, whether they're traveling for the holidays. There's also an aspect of our behavior that we go into this hibernation mode. It's really weird because we live in Southern California where there is not a snow day to be seen except for once every 5 years. And it's, in one spot. Like a few years ago, snowed on the beach in Manhattan Beach. And so it's not, it didn't happen all over Los Angeles. It happened up in the hills. There was snow on the top of the Hollywood Hills and stuff like that. But, you know, we aren't, you know, there's nothing to hibernate. It doesn't get that cold here. But that's just what's ingrained. Also, we have the holidays coming up. People are buying presents. People are visiting family. There's travel. What does this mean? There's money going out. And so people don't want to be inconvenienced, especially at a time when they're spending on that money. Now, what ends up happening is at the end of the year, they get their bonus. The bonus is better than what they thought, is equal to what they thought. Now their bank account is plush with money. And guess what they do? They start going house shopping to go buy a house. And so as you can see here, the prices continue to rise as this goes on. Not a surprise. Now, this time in February, interest rates went up, which started to stall the housing market. But as you can see, LA as a whole actually reached a new peak in its 5-year history. Since then, interest rates have taken a toll and the property value started to decline. But then, as you can see here on the trend of interest rates, which we are actually at the lowest interest rates in the last 2 years. So we are recording this in October 2024. And the last time we had rates like this was February 2023, but they were actually still higher. The last time we had rates that were lower was September 2022. So just kind of put that one in perspective. This year is October 2024. And what I am seeing is that homes are sitting a little bit more. Interest rates jumped up so they were down to 6.32. Now they're up to 6.45. It's not 25%, but it's a quarter of a point increase on interest rates almost. And that has had some buyers hit the sideline. And they're still lower. They're still the lowest they've been in over 2 years. But some buyers are hitting the sideline because of these interest rate hikes. On top of that, we're coming up on the holidays when people are inconvenienced. They just say, you know what, I'm going to buy a house after the holidays. So what I'm seeing is that homes are sitting on the market longer. Interest rates are still low. They're the lowest they've been in 2 years. And you're able to snatch up a deal now. And if you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to wait till after the holidays, I would recommend thinking about that one again, because everybody is saying that. Everybody says that every year, and that's why the spring is the best time to sell, because everybody comes in after the holiday with their bonus and they start buying up houses and they want to be moved before the school gets out so that they're moved into their house for the new school year, or they're moved into the house to enjoy summer. You name it. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons, and buying a house does take courage. Buying your next house takes courage, but it's up to you to take action in your life on whether you are going to live out the next chapter of your dreams in the house that you really want, instead of settling for the house that you have, if it's really in your favor to get that good house. We're getting towards the end of the month, so we'll have a whole new slew of data next month. We crunch our numbers. If you want to sign on to our newsletter, we actually publish our market report every month at the first week of the month. We crunch the data for all the best neighborhoods that we follow, and we share it with you so that you can stay on top of what's happening in your neighborhood. Being the professional of your community helps you talk and make better decisions with your neighbors, with yourself, with your friends, with your family, and for your future. So anyway, moving on. As you can see, spring market prices go up. So why is this the worst time to buy? Well, because everybody else is buying. And so you have more competition for the same home. Like for instance, right now, you might be able to buy a house without other offers. You might be able to buy a house that normally would have sold during the spring with multiple offers. You could buy it with one other offer. And all you have to do is beat one other person. When you have 10 offers, there's a chance that there's a cash offer floating in there, which can pose problems, especially if they want to be the highest offer. That said, as we go back, let's look historically. So here we are, late summer, early spring, and the property values have dropped significantly, over $100,000, which is almost 10% from its peak in May. Now, every year you're going to notice something. It peaks around March, April, May. Interest rates kind of had their way with this one. But let's look over here, 2024. May, peaked. May, December, August, June, April, 3 peaks across the spring, bottom, huge run up. Everybody knows what was happening in 2021 when you were getting 2% mortgages. But still, even with that crazy interest rate market and how crazy the real estate market was at the time, it still dropped down during the fall. Then it picked back up, and in 2022 peaked, and then it dropped again. Let's look over here. September. Now we all know what happened in March. So this one, the government shut down the economy, and so a lot of people were without jobs. I was able to buy a house here because I did it on my tax returns. Obviously, I'm self-employed, and I did not fire myself or lay myself off. I was not collecting unemployment at the time, so I was able to buy a house. But if you had a job at the time, I got a 2.375 mortgage. I mean, it was a great time. But this was because things were shut down. Let's look a little further back, and I'll show you. Every year. So we're going beyond 2020. Let's see. June, July. 2019, peak of the market was in July. 2018, peak of the market was in May. Do you see a trend here? 2017, peak of market was in June. And it goes on and on. Every year, except for 2020, because the government shut down the economy, every year since 2017, the real estate market has peaked, which means it's had the most activity, which means it has the most offers, bidding properties up, making prices rise in May, June, or July. Every year. Every year it happens in the spring and early summer. So that is why, and then let's look on the flip side. Now, the fall isn't necessarily cheaper than buying at the beginning of the year. But if you're watching this video, the beginning of the year might have already passed. In fact, the beginning of the year was in January, and here we are in October. Now, the beginning of the year can be an amazing time to buy a house, but you run into a problem. Inventory dries up. Look at this. As you can see here, the fewest sales happen in January because what happens in December? The holidays. So as you can see, sales go down. Let's look at inventory, active listings. It's the same thing. In December, you have the least amount of homes to select from. So although it can be the best time of the year to buy a house, you have the least selection. And so one of the benefits of the late fall over the winter is that in the late fall, homeowners are still trying to sell their homes. This brings me to what is the benefit of buying in the late fall versus the winter? Now, the best time of the year to buy a house is the late fall or in the winter. Early winter in particular, as you see, the property values go up every January, February, March, and they continue to rise and mostly peak in May, June, and July. So that means as it's falling, you can get the best deals. Now, this is because in the late fall, homeowners are still trying to sell their homes and they really want to be moved out before the holidays are up. And so they want to get out of their house so that they can continue to enjoy the holidays without the stress of showings, being in escrow, inspections, anything like that. So this is why the late fall is the best. And as you can see here, I'm about to show you next, the months of supply, which is the amount of homes that are on the market versus how many homes are selling, tend to be at its highest point in October and November. In fact, I regularly negotiate my best agreements in these months. For instance, I regularly negotiate hundreds of thousands of dollars off the asking price around this time. So if you're looking to buy a luxury house, it's the perfect time to do it. They're trying to sell and enjoy their holidays as well. It happens to everybody. We during the spring, on average, we tend to negotiate $10,000 in repairs for our clients. But during the winter months, on average, we tend to negotiate $30,000 in repairs. This is an amazing way for you to be able to improve your house take care of some of those repairs that you wouldn't have been compensated for had you bought in spring. So let's look at months of supply. So as you can see here, months of supply in 2022 skyrocketed because interest rates went up, but then they went back down. January, people stopped putting their home on the market because the real estate market corrected 12.5%. So prices fell in the second half of 2022 by 12.5%. Then months of supply stayed low during the spring months again because buyers start re-entering the market. And even though more listings come on market, as you can see right here, 11,400, and then more listings start to come on market here in June, July, or here, new listings right here. December, more listings start coming on market, but the problem is there's fewer active listings because more people are buying them as we move up. So the properties are being absorbed by home buyers. So then I come over to new listings. So there are more new listings in these months, but the active listings are holding back. And that, my friend, is exactly why buying in the fall is the better time. Because although more homes will come on market in the spring, they get snatched up so quickly, sometimes you don't even get to see them. You know, if you go on vacation for spring break, your dream house could pop up, it's sold, and you're on vacation. You know, a lot of real estate, that's why we go 2 weekends. That's a whole different thing on listing strategy. I'll talk about that in a different video. But as you can see here, leading by the data shows us that the best time of the year to buy a home is during the late fall because you have the most selection. But if you want the absolute lowest price and can swing, I would say, and can be a little more flexible with what you buy because your dream home might not be available for you over the holidays, buying over the holidays can see that you get the lowest price. So the best selection and a lower price, late fall. The best price but less selection, around the holidays. Once again, guys, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. We're going to be sharing tips and tricks throughout the rest of the year on how to better prepare your home for sale, how to take advantage of the market so that you get a better deal on your next home, and so that you have a smoother process and a better experience in the process.